The standard model for online creators relies heavily on broad appeal and massive volume to generate income. Look at the catalog of Mark Tulloch. Across an entire 31-song release, his work has accumulated a total of exactly 14.4K streams. This TuneCore dashboard lays out the exact financial return for those streams. By every metric used in the modern music industry, spending half a year to earn the price of a single pint of beer is a catastrophic failure. But the phoenix imagery anchoring his brand points to a different objective entirely. The people engaging with this art make up a highly specific, hidden demographic, an audience that is 99% male, specifically between the ages of 45 and 54. Tulloch's operation targets this hyperspecific group, utilizing the music catalog as the first step in a strategic acquisition model designed for an otherwise unreachable audience. Passive streaming on platforms like Spotify requires very little from a listener, whereas generating user-generated content requires active, high-intent participation. This user-generated content analytics tab reveals the actual engagement. The track, the pub, the punch, the path has generated over 109,000 UGC views. Moving down the dashboard, the album Deadweight accounts for another 68.5 thousand views. Nearly 200,000 combined views prove this audience actively attaches this specific audio to their own videos to vocalize their personal struggles. That action represents identity alignment, an objective vastly more valuable to a conversion funnel than passive audio consumption. This geographic breakdown shows exactly where that alignment is happening, with Indonesia holding the #1 rank at 5,482 streams. A hyper-niche, localized audience translates directly to high-ticket sales because it filters out casual listeners and isolates a concentrated group of potential community advocates. These tracks function as top-of-funnel emotional magnets, utilized specifically to acquire highly guarded clients. The target demographic consists of high-performing men in their late 40s and 50s who actively reject jargon-heavy self-help content. To build trust with this group, a practitioner must carry visible, earned scars. They demand someone who has survived the exact pressures they face. Tulloch provides that proof through the September Rebuild, a deeply traumatic narrative involving a near-death hospital breakdown and sudden betrayal by friends he had trusted for 30 years. He spent 10 months operating with zero income, forced to rebuild both his life and his business entirely from scratch. This chart visualizes the exact psychological trap causing these breakdowns in high performers, progressing from sleep loss and overdrive into a destructive snap. Right at that crash point, he converted trauma into art, mapping survival into tracks like The Man Who Wouldn't Fall. That digital rebuild eventually took physical form in Bali, manifesting as the Sun Shooters walk-in bar. Weaponizing a narrative of total collapse bypasses the heavy armor of burnt-out business leaders, speaking directly to those suffering in complete silence. For 35 years in high-stress hospitality management, including managing violent London pubs, Tulloch operated on a survival street code. Wearing professional success as emotional armor keeps executives alive in chaotic environments, but it mathematically guarantees eventual psychological burnout. Escaping that cycle requires a definitive shift from chaotic, reactive survival to a state of calm, controlled internal stability. This pivot to the soul code is the conscious, deliberate design of internal operating systems. This chart outlines the structured recovery protocol, a 5-stage journey moving through awareness, intention, action, reflection, and presence. By mapping this cycle, bipolar stops being treated as a strict clinical diagnosis and becomes a managed spectrum of energy frequency. In a high-pressure boardroom, maintaining stillness and utilizing the pause operates as a competitive advantage rather than a sign of weakness. Mastering that internal stillness is a non-negotiable prerequisite before anyone can design a resilient, scalable business brand. Writing, producing, and recording 31 emotionally raw therapeutic tracks through traditional industry channels creates massive production bottlenecks and prohibitive costs. Generative AI bypasses those hurdles entirely, providing a frictionless, scalable solution for rapid audio creation. This strategy relies on a specific mechanism in the commercial license. The contract explicitly grants full perpetual global rights and complete sub-licensing authority. This specific licensing structure completely eliminates copyright anxiety and removes all legal friction for the brand. These legal terms establish the creator as a rights holder, providing complete ownership of every asset produced. Armed with this legal protection, the brand can test therapeutic assets in the market instantly and scale the operation without relying on traditional industry gatekeepers. The streaming data, the trauma narrative, the soul code philosophy, and the AI intellectual property function as interconnected gears in a single machine. This is the complete architecture of the personal brand, built as a vertical 3-lane funnel. A user enters at the top through a UGC view of the music, filters through the narrative leverage of the story, and lands at the bottom offer. That bottom offer is a 60-minute clarity mapping session. It serves as a high-ticket monetization mechanism that completely replaces the need to earn fractions of a cent on streaming royalties. The creator is selling the strategic result and the mental clarity behind the music, rather than selling the audio files themselves. Decoupling self-worth from vanity metrics and weaponizing authentic scars allows an entrepreneur to transition from reactive survival to architecting a high-value conversion engine.